everyone, here is a quick tutorial on how to make a bullion stitch into a rosebud as well as a rose. And as always, timestamps are in the description below if you just want to skip ahead to the rosebud or the rose or whatever. So to make a bullion stitch, you'll send your needle to the right side of your work and then over a bit so you have a bit of a space. Now the space is whatever size you'd like for your project. Then you'll wrap your floss around your needle, and it's helpful to use a millimeter needle or a sharps needle when doing bullion stitches. And I don't think the direction of the wraps matter. I've done them both ways, but I prefer to wrap counterclockwise. I'm not sure if that's because I'm right-handed, but that orientation is more comfortable to me. Also, make sure not to wrap too tightly. This is basically the key of the bullion stitch, is you want to wrap, tightly enough that they're pretty and your tension is consistent, but you don't want to wrap too tight that, you can't get your needle out. You want the wraps to touch your needles, but still be able to slide your needle without much resistance. So I'm working with 2 strands of floss, and it's very, very important to keep your strands, if you're also doing multiple strands, in line with each other. You don't want them to be twisted, since that will give you a very sloppy bullion. If it's not pretty on your needle, it's not going to be pretty as a stitch. It's kind of the rule of thumb. So to continue to wrap until the length of your wraps are approximately the same length as your space. Then I use my index finger and thumb to kind of pinch those wraps together while I slide my needle out of those stitches, and then carefully make sure the bullion is lined in the direction that it's going to be pulled in. And then pull the floss so it'll cinch the bullion stitches down. And simply put your needle to the wrong side of your work at the bottom of the bullion stitch. And voila, that's how you make a bullion stitch. So to make a rosebud, first you'll start with 1 bullion stitch. I like to start with the shorter one. And then I go a little bit past the first bullion stitch, but end with the same end point. Then you'll wrap those stitches on your needle, pull through, just the same as before, but this time I like to send my needle over a bit so it kind of pulls that stitch around to the first bullion. And this might be a really small detail, but it does give a nice look to that rosebud, as if the petals are kind of really sandwiched together amongst the leaves or whatever, before it blooms into a full rosebud. And now, speaking of a full rose, this is how I like to make a rose bullion. I start with 2 parallel bullion stitches, and these are typically quite small, only containing 3 to 4 wraps, sometimes only 2 wraps when I'm doing newborn, really tiny roses. But anywho, once you have those 2 parallel bullion stitches, and these are going to be the center of your rose, then you'll decide how many petals you like, and typically you'll choose an odd number of petals. And for the sake of this tutorial, let's go with 3 petals. I like to start my first petal just past the corner of one of the bullion stitches. Then, since I'm doing 3 petals, I'll stop this petal about 1/3 of the way around, kind of maybe 180 degrees from the starting point, if you will. And then just wrap like normal, pinch those wraps, and pull your needle through. And again, make sure the bullion is in the direction that you'd like it before you begin to pull it down in place. And if you pull it too tight and the end of the bullion tapers off like mine did here, just use your needle to kind of fluff it back out. It is no big deal. So to continue to the second petal, I send my needle to the halfway point of the first petal, and again end at about 180 degrees from there. After wrapping, pinching, pulling through, that petal can be pulled down into place as well. And finally, you have the third petal, and I start this about halfway or so on the second petal and then send it just past the start of the first petal. And I go slightly past the start of the first petal since I want this petal's end to kind of tuck around and kind of hug the rose. It just makes for a more fluid, natural look. But there you have it. You can tie off on the back side of your work. You can also add lazy daisy leaves to the rosebud and then scatter lazy daisy leaves around the roses, or do whatever leaf style you'd like to do. I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below and I will do my best to answer them. And as always, I appreciate y'all for watching, and I hope to catch y'all next time.